the only way to fight back is to do good. You can't fight with violence, no matter how terrible the world is.
The long knives. They spied me, and the chase was on. Neighborhood boys with sharp instruments who marveled at my fright, resonating with theirs about the mystery of the Jew laying a spell, performing magic rites. Give up your powers, Jew boy, the menacing demand. I could not fathom in my defenseless stand back against the church wall. It was their savior's flaw to turn the other cheek that prompted the attack. But I could not die like that or show myself immune to fear. I pleaded and cajoled until a passerby dispersed the youth and blamed me for my faith. So there was a lot of confusion, a lot of anxiety where he was going to end up and who he was going to end up with. When he got here, he found actually a very loving family here that accepted him and kind of got him into what it's like to be here and to start his life here.
Our Aunt Melanie had a dress hanging in the window of the house. That dress remained there after the family disappeared. And her mother would ask every day, "Where is Melanie? Where is Melanie?" She could see the dress, but Melanie was gone, and so was the whole family. And where did they go? He tried very hard.
We have the letters from his parents.
Begging.
Telegrams,
Back
letters, begging him to do whatever he could to get them here. And he's a 14-year-old boy.
So he was placed in a foster home where one of his sisters in the foster home became schizophrenic. And that prompted, I think, his desire to go into psychiatry, specifically child psychiatry. It definitely gave him the strength to endure, is helping children and families.
Because he was so active, in the field for so long. The legacy is huge. He touched lots of people in lots of different ways.
I do want to point out that our father was not a warm person. Rarely laughed, rarely. And in our family, it was very much implied that you don't grow up to be happy. That's not important. You don't grow up to be successful, meaning financially successful. That's not important. But it is incredibly important that you grow up to be a contributing member to society. It was more implied rather than explicit.
Yeah, it was kind of behind the scenes. It was not...
He was not a chatty person. He didn't talk. He was not a talker. So this is the trauma part. The two of us were sent to integrate inner city
schools.
Black schools. So we were almost the only white children in the schools. And it was really tough, but we couldn't say anything. You just did it, and you couldn't tell your parents how hard it was. It was hard.
Because it's nothing compared to, by the way, growing up in Germany and having the Holocaust happen. I mean, that's nothing.
The kids are throwing rocks at your school, at your bus, and sticking you with pins, and you just took it. We knew we were almost like soldiers in a fight. Like it was a battle for civil rights, and we were the soldiers, and you just had to be a good soldier.
Shut your mouth and be a good soldier. I was 17, on my way to the University of Michigan to start college. It was during the Munich Olympics. We arrived in a hotel room and had the TV news on. I must have said something along the lines of, I'm worried about starting college. I was young, and my father had a meltdown and said, essentially, who are you? Who are you to be worried about something like college? Look at the world. Look at what happens in this world. Look how evil people are. It's your responsibility to be strong, to pay back. Be prepared. Go into the world, do good. Don't feel sorry for yourself.
The way it has affected me, I've retired 4 times. And I'm still looking to go back to work. For me, it's much more this lifelong drive to do something. And if I'm not doing something important in my eyes anyway, then I'm not living up to what I should be doing.
The accomplishment of surviving a Holocaust, surviving immigration, surviving a life of complete upheaval, exactly. But you can never live up to that. How do you ever completely feel that your sense of self is worthy when you have that example in your life?
This feeling driven to, I guess David said this, make the world a better place. You have to care beyond yourself. In fact, you shouldn't care about yourself at all. You should care about other people. Fight for social justice. And even as children, we were taken on marches like for
civil rights marches.
They fought so hard for so many years.
I always used to say it's the sense that you have to pay back for 6 million.
He had very difficult experiences with the Jewish community when he came here as a child. They didn't believe him. They felt that it wasn't their job to help him. Right. And so he turned his back on religion and then found his way back as an older adult. And I think that was also a place where he found comfort and peace.
My sister is religious, as are her children. And David, I'd put you somewhere in the middle somewhere. I am a total atheist and don't believe in organized religion.
But I think I'm religious because of our history.
And I am not religious because of our history. So that's why I'm saying, yes, it can go all ways.
Maybe he wasn't the most hugging, but he spent time with us, reading to us, talking to us. He was very, I guess, central to our lives.
So I work as a palliative care doctor for most of my work, so working with people who are dying and their families, and I spend most of my day being very empathetic, but I come home and I am not very empathetic with my family. Even my little kids, they get upset and I say, no, there's no crying. And then I reflect on it later, why am I saying that? You're 5.
I get a lot from my grandfather to have a positive impact in the world and care. That you do need to fight for other people's rights, and I think that was a positive thing that was taken and passed on from generation to generation.
When Donald Trump was elected and there were a lot of anti-racist protests, we took our kids when they were 2 or 3 And we even said to them, your grandparents and their siblings were taken to civil rights protests, and this is what our family does.
Like, you need to find the balance, and they do need to be aware of other people and other people's rights, make a difference in the world. What we need to kind of do is separate out, it's okay to have personal needs, and it's okay to be happy, and it's okay to enjoy life, and it's okay to raise children to enjoy life and be happy.
I mean, just like what's happening in this country, this growing, weird kind of
Yeah, fascism.
for
Exactly.
lack of a better word, it's insidious.
Israel has become a very fascist country in a lot of ways. And in fact, when I think about that, I think about my Saba and how he would feel about that. And I know that he would be angry.
That it's poverty and racism and people being anti-trans and anti-gay and all of these things that affect people's lives day to day and cause them to suffer from oppression and from lack, and that's where the battle lines are in making the world better.